Healthy soil is vital for our plants, particularly in the veggie patch. They need the right type of soil that can hold moisture, drain well, and of course, they need lots of food. Soil pH is the measure of alkalinity or acidity of your soil, or the amount of hydrogen ions if you want to get technical. It'll vary depending on where you live, and if it's too much one way or the other, your plants won't be able to access the food that you give them. So let's dig a little bit deeper into soil pH to ensure that your plants are getting the nutrients that they desire. Many of you are going to have a pH test kit in the back shed. They cost about 20 bucks and they're very easy to use. The pH scale ranges between 1, acidic, and 14, alkaline. But in your kit, the scale ranges between 2 and 10, because that's what you'll find in soil. Grab your soil sample and place it on the white card provided in your kit. And it's important to make sure your soil sample is free of rocks and organic material like roots and twigs. Then add your dye and mix it through using the paddle. Then add some barium powder and wait for the colour to change. The pH here is 7, which is neutral, which is a perfect place to be in your garden. And here's why. As the scale of pH changes, so does the combination of nutrients available. At the centre of the scale, the most important nutrients, like nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus, are most readily available for plants to take up. At the pH extremes, these become less available, and other elements, like aluminium, can become toxic to your plants. It's a really good idea to take multiple soil samples from different parts of your garden and do it before you add compost or any minerals. And make sure it's on a nice dry day. That way, you'll get an accurate reading. There are general patterns of soil pH around Australia, based on things like the type of underlying bedrock, agricultural use, and the amounts of rainfall. Much of Western Australia's coastal regions are alkaline due to the presence of limestone. On the other hand, Tassie's east coast is dominated by dolerite clays, getting more acidic as you head north. Whereas 2/3 of Queensland's surface soils are considered acidic. This is due to high rainfall and the constant leaching of certain nutrients. Drier areas are more alkaline as the combination of elements in the soil are more stable. And 50% of Australia's agricultural lands have high acidity due to practices like using ammonia-heavy fertilisers. At the higher end of the pH scale are our alkaline soils. A pH of around 7 to 8 is perfect for plants like brassicas, garlic, spinach, hibiscus, sweet peas and geraniums. At this range, all the major elements plus more calcium and magnesium are available, which is a diet that these plants prefer. Most of your veggies like to sit about mid-range, 6 to 7, which is close to neutral. And that makes a lot of sense because they're heavy feeders of NPK, or nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Once you get outside this range, there's less of those key nutrients available to the plant, which can show up as yellowing leaves, but more importantly, it can stop your plant from thriving. And a weak plant is more susceptible to disease. When you hear acid loving, don't think it needs to be 1 or 2. That'd be battery acid and not too good for your plants. Things like waratahs, rhododendrons, camellias, cymbidium orchids and blueberries are all acid lovers. But a good example is camellias like at about 6 to 6.5, whereas something like a blueberry likes it a little bit more acidic at about 5. To acidify your soil, use plenty of compost, mulch and animal manure. Or if your soil's too acidic, you can raise your pH by adding dolomite or garden lime. Sandy soils are more likely to be acidic, but they're easier to change, so you don't need to use as much lime on sand as you do with clay. Or you might want to consider crop rotation, which is a really useful strategy for maintaining good soil balance, because certain crops will take certain nutrients out and others will put them back in. Or you might want to go indigenous, because those plants are the best suited to your local soils. Keep a good eye on your garden for nutrient deficiencies. Get yourself a pH test kit, test your soil, and amend it if you need to. But by selecting plants that are well suited to your soil type and its pH, you'll save yourself a lot of time and effort in the long run.